I'll figure something out. Open widget. We're back to this again. I haven't seen this stuff in a while. Hello! Welcome to my tube. My tiny little tube. My name is Margie. I'm Heyoka, empath. I just like having these little conversations on the way I feel about things, and being Heyoka, always feeling some kind of way. Is it my feelings? Is it the collective? Is it Ma's? Is it the dogs? I'm pretty good at deciphering. I think a lot of that's what this life is about, just deciphering, learning discernment, trusting or getting in alignment your heart, gut, mind, and then keeping those calibrated and clean, which aligns you into a kind of attunement that tunes you into stuff that the ordinary, they just don't get. They can't put their head around it. So many people can't imagine. They can't imagine. Yeah, can you imagine ... Say that to a lot of people, and then I'll give them a scenario and they just look at me blankly. Because they can't imagine. Some people really can't imagine. Some of us, we can imagine enough for me and you. I don't even care if people agree with the things that I say. I just want people to see that there's different ways of thinking and that people don't have to line up and completely agree with the human being in order to freaking be in their orbit. People think, somebody has to be, hey, Cosmic, exactly like me for me to be, their friend or their, whatever. People create scenarios and how their life is lined up, and it's going to be a really rude awakening for those folks, Our spirits are just here to have a human experience, like a life library. We're just here checking it out, and it's, the time that people are alive right now, it's a pretty wild time. Last time these planets were lined up was the revolution, and as you can see, people are yearning and freaking protesting their freedoms. People are sticking. I've been speaking up for me, the underdog. So I say that to a lot of people that own businesses. I'm like, you don't have to say it. I already know. Because a lot of people, they have to. They're just doing their job. People stopped being human beings and they became human doings. They just became human doings. I'm just doing my job. Everybody has this place in this world. Not everybody's, maybe not everybody's going to be evolve into some sort of freaking spiritually awakened freaking, ascended being of light. There's just some people that are just here to be little worker bees, or for me, they're just little examples of how I don't want to live my life, and they're everywhere. I'm starting to be like a freaking brand snob. Like, I can't be like that. But I'm starting to be like that. But I can't be like that. It's the individual, it's the person. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's their heart space. The freaking people piss away freaking so much money on shit that sits in a garage most of the time. Cars are just sucks. I hate it. Oh my God, it drives me crazy. This whole car industry right now on these. Oh my God, it's out of control. All the agendas are out of control. Everywhere. Agendas are everywhere. There's people in power and they make people do things like the Fawn Fire out in Redding, in Northern California, up in Jones Valley. My homie lives right there, and he's been reporting on it ever since it busted out. And it's gone the other way up over the ridge and stuff. And there's two main roads. There's Bear Mountain Road, and then there's Dry Creek Road. and they meet, they interject right there, and they still have those. They still have those roads closed off, and it's like, open the fucking roads, man. It's like, let people get back to stuff, but you have the the cops are just total dickheads. They're total dickheads. And it's like, none of the residents are getting snubbed when they're trying to approach them to ask them questions and stuff like that. But if you leave, they won't let you back in. But a lot of people there's like elderly that can't leave and stuff like that people are taking care of, and there's circumstances, and that they don't give a fuck. Because they get paid a lot of money to be dickheads. And they were doing I got a recipe. I'm going to make chicken tetrazzini tomorrow. I'm going to use fresh mushrooms and caramelize the onions with the chicken, and then I'm going to bake it. I'm going to do a little bit different than the recipe. Anyway, fire meter and fire. This is what, because they never do the preventive. They never have the maintenance that goes in there to clear stuff out and stuff. So there's so much underbrush and stuff that this stuff it's been a problem my whole life and even longer. I mean, it's like, we know what the problems are but people, it's absurd. So, but this is I saw this on Twitter. They were doing a meeting. It's too bright. I knew it was going to be because it's white. They were doing a meeting, giving an update to the local area, right? And this is what they do. It's like, they pay them, they give themselves exorbitant budgets, okay? And how many people are actually fighting the fires? You have the people that are flying the tankers, and you have some people that are driving around bulldozers and stuff, the skidders, and freaking, do that stuff. Well, they should have done all this stuff before, right? But look at what my point is. The whole point I'm trying to make is, look at all of the cooperating agencies. Shasta County Fire, Redding Fire, Shasta Lake Fire, Mountain Gate Fire, all these motherfuckers pay themselves these absorbent, but they never, instead of freaking sitting there fucking stuffing your faces at the firehouse and shit like that, why don't they go out and trim? Why don't that be part of their job description? There's all kinds of, and then on the other side of all of these are clubs. All of these you have to know somebody to work there. My homie, another gal I know from the olden days, her husband, he's a fire jumper. There's fires all over Northern California. He couldn't get a job. He can't get a job because it's who you know. And if you don't know somebody and suck somebody's fucking proverbial wiener, you ain't gonna get very far in life. And I don't suck wiener. It's too much effort, very little reward. I don't even like dudes. Anyway, so these are all the people that are getting paid. Oh yeah, PG&E, they're freaking bagazillionaire. Everybody has an agenda. And the thing that we're going to find out in the next year, my agenda is, I even have an agenda. I make my declarations. Me and Mom, we're looking for our forever home. That's what I called this talk initially, forever home. But we're looking for our forever home, and it's going to be around here someplace, God willing, please. He brought us this far. I hope he doesn't want us to go nowhere else, because I like it here. It's nice here. It's mellow here. I had a rough night. I didn't sleep. And all day long, I was just like, man, I just kind of zoned out and listened to astrology talks by all kinds of different folks and anesthesia astrology. Made butter today too. I'll be making cookies tomorrow. Victor, I like him. Victor. Let me just look in my. Saw the volcano on the Canary Islands were flaring up. But that's the thing, is all these fucking people. These are the resource hogs, man. Ugh, it drives me crazy. It's always been like that, and I was the biggest part of. I was a freaking Air Force, biggest fucking resource hog. And these guys, and that's the thing, is they aren't bound by policies and procedures and standards. That's what I've been trying to tell people for years and years. They go around and do it. We pay for them to fucking swing their dicks and go around and do whatever they want. I talked about the story as a John Denver fan. John Denver. Thank God I'm a country boy. Stuff like that. It's old folky kind of music, and I used to listen to it when I was younger, and I like it well, and it's one of the musicians that, oh yeah, I still like it, you know. So I was listening to, or I was looking into his history, and he went out to California. His dad was like a general. His dad was like brass, and let me accentuate the ass, because brass is ass. Brasses are asses. They're a lot of poli-sci majors and shit like that. Let me make the decisions on the world. I can't change a fucking tire, but I'll make decisions on how a country should act. You know, it's just people with no life experience. People have never had to follow rules, regulations. Just go around doing whatever they want. And when people egos are allowed to run rampant like that, they do weird and twisted shit. John Denver's, when he went out to California to make music, and they're like, oh yeah, stay out here, be a hippie, you know, Dad's like, oh fuck no. Took a jet, just like checked it out from a library, went out, flew out, said, you're coming home with me. You know, it's like they just do whatever they want. And what the weird thing is people are finding out that they do really weird, gross stuff for benefits. There's dark witches, there's light witches, there's all kinds of freaking people that freaking have learned that they have powers and abilities in themselves, and they use it for the betterment. Like these astrologers that are freaking calling for $500 a reading, fuck you, y'all suck. You know, people, these spiritualists, let me help you heal. Just run your credit card right here. Fuck you too. We're supposed to be waking up and helping people hurt. You know, people are waking and they don't like who they've been. I know what it's like to wake up and be like, oh my God, this is how I behaved for so long. What is selfish. But you know what? You don't have to sit in the ideology of who you used to be. Just don't act like that person today. And if you get to go to sleep and wake up tomorrow, don't act like that person today. And if you get to go to sleep that night and wake up the next day, don't act like you used to act today. One day at a time, man. It has sustained me. If people that don't know my story very well, this time last year, September, I didn't know where we were going to go. And I just kept picturing a dark, black abyss. And me stepping off into it and knowing that God was going to put a stepping stone there, because he always has. It still was scary as fuck, though. We ended up in Arizona from Salem. Dude, it ain't easy to move cross country by yourself with 5 little dogs, a cat, and mom in tow. It ain't easy, but God made it. You know, made it happen, and it wasn't stress-free, but things happened. You know, they lined up pretty okay. And I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen next, because we got this winter here, and then spring, and then like come June, okay, we got to go into, because they got the person who lives here permanent is going to probably want it back by then. We'll see. But that's what my goal is, to have us in by like September, you know, or June, July. That kind of time frame. And I already got some buddies that'll help me move. Unlike in Omaha, the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous. But I help so many. They always say, well, you're not supposed to do things for people to help you. And I'm like, well, that's an imbalance of energy. You know? And I understand that. But I mean, I must have helped like 60 people moved. And it was really cool to see because the way they did move is it was like after a meeting on Sunday morning. Fuck, there ain't no 11 tradition no more. Everybody fucking blaster. I'll just talk about whatever I want, as long as I don't talk about stuff I heard in meetings. But after the meetings and stuff like that, whatever. So, after the Sunday morning meeting, everybody would, we're in the Midwest. Everybody has big dumb trucks. Everybody has big trucks. Everybody got the big truck. I miss my big dumb truck, my big red truck. Anyway, and then they'd go to the person's house. And I physically witnessed and was a part of, like, moving a 5-person family, 2 adults, 3 kids, 3-bedroom house. Of course, you got to pack it up. It's got to be packed. The people aren't going to show up and pack up your stuff. Although there were those that had that expectation, oddly enough. And, get them moved in a matter, it loaded up. Because people would just line up there because there would be like 50 people. And they just, it would be like zigzag. So it'd be me and then this person would stand this way and people would just pass boxes back and forth like that out of the house. It was pretty cool to see, But when I moved, nobody fucking cared. That's why I left. Because I knew nobody cared. So why am I going to be fucking miserable in 8 months of winter in Omaha fucking Nebraska when I knew nobody cared? Because like 5 people showed up when I moved. There's no going away party. There was no see you later March. There's like a couple people I freaking went out to dinner with before I left. And good, It was like these people, it's like, because I always made my friends my family, but because I got my wires crossed at times and learning how to reprogram and stuff, it is hard for me to determine who was really for me and stuff like that. Because I've had people like act like they were my friend and turn around and talk trash and just make fun of me. And I can honestly say, I have never in my whole life ever done that to anybody. But what are you gonna do? You live and you learn to trust your own instincts. And I know that there was some place down there in my heart that always knew. Our story's pretty miraculous now that I think about it, Ma. We got a pretty good story, but I look at the tubes and see what other people are watching, and I'm like, what the fuck? These inarticulate fucking buffoons, man. They don't even have a very big vocabulary. See, I've loved words my whole life. I used to call people in the phone book. There's this one in Reading when I lived there. Their last name start with an X and it had like 26 letters in it. And I call and ask them how they pronounce their name. Of course, they couldn't understand the question that I was saying. But I've always loved words. And you know what? And I've always believed in things like osmosis. Because if there's I was trying to explain this to some homies at the coffee shop the other day, is that I believe that, okay, when people write books, they usually research the book unless they're writing it about their own experience, which they probably know by heart. But I can't tell you how many papers I had to write by summarizing things I read in other books, which led me to the line of thinking that a lot of books are written because other people have just written perceptions of other things in books. It's just the way people see things. It's just like my channels, how I see things. Kijin, how she sees things. With her observation entertainment, she has her key phrase for Kijin, and people have their own way. A lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't have that. There's a lot of people that are anyway. So I was talking about like osmosis and stuff, and I said when I was a little girl, I taught myself how to ride a bicycle when I was 4 years old. I look at 4-year-olds, right? I look around and I'm like people, how old? Oh, they're 4, and then I think, okay, where I was when I was 4. I got a bicycle. It was a little huffy. And I just have always been about freedom and riding a bike. And then when I got a little older, it was driving. I was always imagining driving with, pretty girls in the seat next to me. Now it's dogs. Anyway, so I didn't want, and when I got it, it had training wheels on it. And I wasn't a baby. Everything was, I'm not a baby. Probably because of what happened to me when I was a baby, but. Everything was, I'm not a baby. That's what babies do. That's a baby, everything was, and I wasn't a baby. So I went in and I got a pair of pliers. Now, mind you, when I 4 years old, not a lot of 4-year-olds just even, I recognize that now. Then, I used to think I was stupid, too. I used to think I was dumb. Because I thought to be smart, you had to think like everybody else. And I didn't, so I thought I was stupid. But anyway, so I went and I got a wrench and I took off those baby training wheels. And I taught myself how to ride a bicycle. Uncle John gave me the premise. He said he explained balance and how you have to distribute weight and stuff like that. Now, in my heart, I always knew that there's a threshold. There's the before knowing how to do something or being aware of something. And then once you go through that threshold, you can't unlearn it unless you freaking whack yourself in your head of the part of your brain that controls that. But that's, there is extenuating circumstances at all time, but there's always a threshold before, like riding a bike and finding that point of balance. And then at some point you get to a point you do it, you don't even think about it. And then you can not do it for years and then go back and your body remembers. Well, it's like that for everything, and I understand it's like that for data too. So I used to believe in osmosis, I didn't do very good in school because I get test anxiety so bad. When I was in the Air Force, I had to go to like a briefing, because everything, if you show signs of certain behaviors, then then you got to go to briefing. But there's a lot of like educational stuff that I volunteered just because I wanted to educate myself on it. So it's just like, but everybody should have those resources. It shouldn't be limited to enlisted personnel. But anyway, I used to sleep with freaking books under my pillow and stuff like that, and but I always had a really wild imagination. I always have, even my astrology, even the palm reader, Bonnie the palm reader says that she's like she did one of those like you're just gonna get more creative the older you get. You're gonna get more creative, and I'm like, well, I'm excited for that. I'm the idea person though. I'm the one with the person. I'm an Aries sun. We're distance. We're not distance runners. We're sprinters. I like to come up with the ideas, execute the ideas, implement the idea, do it. But like stuff that I have to do all the time, every day, that stuff, no, I'm not good with that. So like the mundane stuff. So I save that all for mom's schedule, huh? All the schedule goes to you, Ma. Trying to decide if I want to cut my hair because I'm like on the precipice. I'm right on the edge, Ma, because it's starting to get chilly. So if I cut it, I'm gonna get chilly, right? Or do I let it go all season? What to do? I'm just so glad I haven't freaking shaved it off yet. Gotten rid of it altogether. I'm so glad, because some days I've wanted to. I was listening to was it Pocket of the Future, and he was talking about like the Britney Spears agenda. I'm like, that's the thing, is they just keep playing the same storylines over, and they're all contrived. Oh no, another girl goes missing in the 800,000 people go missing in this country every year, and you know what? I bet how many counties, states still use the person that's gone missing as a head count for their federal funding. You know, people have been missing since 1986, but there's still a head count. You know, it's just all this misappropriation of funds. I can't wait until it really starts coming out. But the thing of it is that there's so many people that have been sucking Uncle Sam's dick, that have been profiting and benefiting, and, you know, for just 20-25 years, no rotation of service, nothing ever really gets done. They just that's how it was when I worked in corporate America, is that they would have like 3 or 4 like big projects that they want to do, and they'd put people like, go work on this, and then they'd pull them off that before they'd finish to go work on this, and nothing ever got done. But they just pass. But there's a VP in every department, and expense accounts and petty cash and all this stuff. You know, people that don't work are just what they think they're worth, man. Because I think about like when I went to work, even when I work at that shitty place, West Corp. You know, usually people gave their 2 weeks notice. And they would just go like sleeping, because that's what people do. That's what, you can't find your tech guy. He's probably sleeping off a fucking hangover in a data closet someplace. Because I worked with that guy. You know? And if I wasn't careful, I could have been that guy. But I wasn't. Oh, I always made it to work, stuff like that. So, what was I saying? Damn it. I was going someplace with that. The song ended, and so did my train of thought. What was I talking, Mom? You don't know. What was I talking about? Oh, sleeping. Oh, when I left West Corp. Worst boss I ever had. Take Leffler, guys. No, he's up there with Christopher Erikson. He's over at Creighton University. They both equally suck, man. They were just dicks. And I was a strong woman, so they just always try to fucking do shit to put me in my place. And it was just, you know, and I was always the one, like, when they'd go off to lunch and have their team meetings and lunch, because I always, you know, buy them lunch, get them free food, stuff their faces, keep them happy with free food, Midwest corn-fed heifers, you know? So, but most people, when they gave their 2 weeks notice, they just you get very little production out of them. And it was my goal. I wanted to close 100 tickets in the last 10 days of my working. That was 50 requests. And it was kind of a slow time, and I missed it by I got 96 or 97, but still, you know, that's how people differentiate themselves. You know, that's all. I worked in maintenance. That's the only way you could set yourself apart, because most of the maintainers don't give a shit about shiny boots and stuff like that. But when you look better, you feel better, and you act better. And then there's those that are that overcompensate and balance, and the pervy ones, but I don't know, that's another talk altogether. So, but people are constantly doing things and showing us who they are. They're constantly, and I'm trying to be like, okay, Marge, is this how you want to show up in the world? Is this how you want to act? Sometimes I don't care, and I act like a fool. I act like a fool a lot. I embarrass people. I make people uncomfortable. That's what Hegel could do, man. We get people. Why should you have comfort zones when so many people have not had any? So why should anybody have zones of comfort? Because there's so many people that have been handled by the dastardly, and that now we have to just go along and live life. Everything's great, you know. while it still happens, while that ugly system is still being perpetuated. You know, and I appreciate Jesse's voter, and I like Jessie, and I believe what she says, and I don't really, you know, all that controversy that comes with it, it comes with it. So you got to be ready for it. I honestly thought I was good coming, like, with all the trash that I talk on my tube, and, you know, stuff it might be true, or, you know, like when people go up to my van, you know, I got to make sure, I don't know if they agree or disagree with what I say. And one older guy the other day, he patted the back of it. He was like in support. I was like, "Aw, thanks, man." You know, but you know, and being broken and being hurt and having, you know, bad shit happen in your life, that doesn't give nobody an excuse to treat people poor in the present moment and today. And I'm saying that to me too, because I can freaking Eric, I gotta freaking ward that shit off, because I know how easy it is to act that way. I mean, to stay right sized. I mean, I think it's pretty cool. But I know other people like that, because I have the ability of telekinesis. I get it from Mom. I think it's pretty freaking cool. I don't know anybody else. Not to say that they don't exist. I'm just saying, I don't know anybody else on the planet that has the ability to telekinesis, and I have verified it with people all over the place, so it's not something that I just say, you know, but it's just, I know other people that if they were doing that, they would just be like, I don't know, taking it to another level. And it's something that I bring up every now and again, but it's not like, hey, you know what, guess what I can do? Look what I can do. It's fun at parties, but people don't have parties anymore. So I was like, when I drive through Old Town, or like downtown, the market square and stuff like that, in Taos, they have all these boutiques where they sell all these outfits for like $100, $200, you know, all this art, you know, it's just like, you're in freaking Podunk, New Mexico. There's no place to wear these fancy clothes to. You know, I was thinking about that today. Like, there'd be occasions when I lived in Omaha, because at Kohl's and Von Mar sold some, but not as good a selection as at the place down the way. But I could go into a store where they sold bow ties. That's why I got a nice collection of bow ties. But I don't got no place to wear them here. I used to wear them to the opera. I used to wear them to Broadway shows, concerts, conferences. You know, like David Sedaris would come. And I'd listen to him tell his stories at a podium. And I'd think to myself, my stories were better than this. Uh-oh, there goes that arrogance. Dial it down there, Marjo. Take it back a few notches. So, anyway, things are going to get funky. I'm like, man, I hope I'm up for it. I feel like some days I really feel like, I don't know. It's just, that's why I'm always moving, because with all that shit that they freaking put in me, especially in my arms, you know, all the crap. I was a test animal. That's what poor people are. You know, you get a new, just give it to the poor people. We didn't go to the doctor a lot. We still don't, thank God. Mom's not on any medications. We're going to brush teeth in a minute, so don't go crawling in bed, Ma. So, I'm gonna watch some Sheldon. But things are gonna get really, really interesting. So I've been staying limber and stuff, because it's like sometimes if I stay still for too long, I feel like my joints are like crystallized. It's a trip. So things hurt a lot. I move around a lot. I'm always moving at everywhere I go. I'm like that little kid that couldn't hold still. I could do it for a little while, but then I'd be like, I'd start to like, all right, this isn't comfortable, you know, or I'd get an itch. I'd talk myself into an itch or something like that, and I'd be like, no. But the older you get and the more sensitive you get, sight, sound, I'm getting so sensitive to stuff, man. So sensitive to stuff. That, welcome to and more and more people, I think that's what a lot to do with the Great Awakening is more and more people are waking up to their sensitivity, in whatever capacity, whatever they're sensitive to, because it's going to be different to everybody, everything, based on their soul, their spirit, their life path. When you laid out the map of your incarnation and say, okay, I'm going to go through this experiment. I just went through the gamut. Let's just get them all out of the way. I say baby rainbow, drowning, electrocution. We did all that before freaking, 7? I was 7 before all that. So they put me in swim lessons. Everything I would try and test, and I was the kid that put freaking tweezers in, because I wanted to see how far you could stick it, because I knew that I wanted to see where the threshold was. I learned. Gank. Yeah, so. And I asked people, hey, have you ever done this? Have you ever done that? And some people are just like, no. Well, that's right. People have done other things, and then I get to learn about the other aspects of this world. Don't you pick on nobody. Look at you. You're trying to pick on your sticky boy brothers. I see what